Mamaya na tayo punta dyan. So, good news mga kameta. Good news. Ang Philippine economy po ay nag-grow beyond forecast expectations. Beyond expectations at 5.9%. Ang taas 6% almost yung growth ng economy natin this quarter, and I'm sure yung mga ka-BBM natin dyan, proud na proud, sasabihin naman nila, dahil sa henyong presidente natin, nangyari itong 5.9% growth rate na yan, at of course, there's gonna be a lot of celebration. Now, let me just say right off the bat that I'm happy that we're growing above expectations because expectations have been going low, but at the same time, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So just to put things into context, the Philippine economy expanded by 5.9% in the third quarter, largely driven by public spending. So galing sa expenditures ng gobyerno. Baka naman confidential fund. Anong public spending yan? Okay, baka mga infrastructure spending among others. So growth in the July to September period beat forecast and outpaced the 4.3% recorded in Q2 of this year. Now, nevertheless, this was way slower than 7.7% expansion in the same 3 months period a year ago. So in a way, this is way slower than last year, but at least the good news is that it was faster than the 4.7% average ng survey ng mga analysts by Reuters. So 4.7% yung average expected growth, we reach almost 6%. So 1.2% higher than what was expected, right? So that's pretty high. So in fairness, so data shows household consumption grew 5% in the third quarter, down from 8% a year earlier, but government spending rose 6.7% year on year compared to 7.1% contraction for the previous quarter and growth of 0.8% a year earlier. So in short, ang nangyari po dito mga kameta is bumaba yung consumption ng ating mga kababayan dahil nga napakataas ng presyo ng mga bilihin. And of course, that's one of the reasons bumaba ng significantly double-digit yung approval rating ng ating presidente. And a whole lot of other top officials, including Senate President, including Vice President, lahat natamaan, di ba? Damay-damay, di ba? But, bumawi naman tayo because government spending this year was 6.7% compared to minus 7.1% in the previous quarter and growth of 0.8% lang last year. So 6.7% versus minus 7.1% quarter on quarter and 6.7% versus 0.8% in terms of year on year. So medyo bumawi yung government spending. This could be infrastructure spending. This could be other kinds of fiscal expansionary policy by the government. Nevertheless, as I said, let's also be realistic about this. Nag-contract po yung purchasing power ng ating mga kababayan. So yung kakayahan natin bumili ng mga bagay-bagay, on average actually nag-decline. Hindi ko na alam yung mga confidential fund or mga ex-confidential fund. And at the same, and yun nga, 5% lang this quarter versus 8% last year. So, significantly reduced na po yung consumption spending. And we know that last year, one reason why almost 7% yung yearly growth natin is because ang taas. Nagkaroon tayo ng revenge spending. At salamat dun sa mga nagregalo-regalo dyan last year. Ayan, para sa bayan. But this year, mga kameta, medyo alanganin ng situation kasi dahil sa inflation, yung talagang tuloy-tuloy na pagtaas ng presyo ng mga pangunahin na bilihin, especially yung food inflation, talagang bumababa yung consumption natin at bumababa yung purchasing power ng ating mga kababayan. So, yes, we did better in this quarter 3, but our growth was really low in quarter 2. So, I don't know how we're gonna meet etong target natin ng 6 to 7% by the end of this year. I think the realistic expectation is we're gonna grow at just above 5%. If we have another 6 to 7%, siguro 5 to 6% growth next quarter, in the final quarter of this year, meaning this quarter. Sana December, medyo spendings go up. But this is it. Even in the most realistically positive scenario of us growing at 5.5% to maximum 6% this year, hindi pa rin yung sapat mga kameta to deal with some fundamental issues that we have in the country. I discussed the fact that the Philippines were not attracting as much investment as we want despite all the travels and all the pledges. Hindi lumalabas pa nga di ba? Net negative po yung FDI natin for direct investments. Yung purchasing power natin ng mga Pilipino. Now, remember, may population growth din tayo ng mga more than 2% annually. So if you're growing at just above 5%, and then you have a population growth of 2%, and then you have an inflation of beyond 3 to 4%, that means in a single year, yung improvement dun sa living standard, condition of living, ng isang ordinaryong Pilipino is almost negligible, to be honest. Because for a country whose GDP per capita is barely $4,000, not even yet at the minimum threshold of upper middle income, we have to grow 8% to 10% every year. And to be honest, we also need some sort of population management program to make sure, responsible family planning, etc., so that we're just at the replacement level in terms of population growth, so that yung per capita natin ay tuloy-tuloy. Kasi kahit naman mataas yung growth rate mo, kung hindi naman yan nagtitrickle down, kung ang taas naman yung population growth mo, bali wala rin yan eh. And the reality is that we're operating still from a very low base of high levels of food hunger, food poverty, and high levels of economic inequality. Alam niyo mga kameta, every time pumupunta ako sa abroad, especially dun sa mga napakayaman na bansa. So recently sa Scandinavia tayo. I mean, you cannot get posher than that, no? I mean, of course, you can get posher than that if you are in Emirates or something. But you get what I'm saying? Like, these are the wealthiest countries out there. Honestly, I see more Ferraris and Lamborghinis in Manila than in Europe. I saw more Lamborghinis and Ferraris in Manila, in just my area. I mean, I'm not even in the richest area or something like that, than in Italy even, right? I was in Milano, I was in Florence, I was in Venice, all of those places. Roma. Wala, mas marami pa rin yung mga Italian sports car dito sa Pilipinas. Tapos ngayon may Tesla pang nalaman. Wala naman tayong matinong battery charging areas. And even if meron, ang mahal naman na electricity sa Pilipinas. So, we have serious problems with economic inequality. We have serious problems with food inflation, among others. So, even growing at 6%, which is almost impossible or very unlikely this year, even that would not be enough, nearly enough. No? So, we need to grow at 7 to 8%. And we need to grow with high quality growth. Meaning, bring in manufacturing investments. Meaning, create more added value added products, get into semiconductor production, get into automobile manufacturing, bring jobs to more and more Filipinos, because yung underemployment din natin is double digit, and even yung official unemployment rate natin is highest in Southeast Asia, and Southeast Asia is not the richest region, it's a developing region, right? So when you put all of those things together, mga kameta, I'm happy that we're beating the dismal expectations, but at the same time, still very worried, because pag titignan mo yung kalagayan ng isang ordinaryong Pilipino, or even not so ordinary, katulad natin mga middle class, mahal talaga. Life is very expensive dito sa especially sa Manila at saka malalaking syudad, no? So yun lang mga kameta. Mas marami akong nakita, promise. Bahala kayo ba? Maniwala sa akin, punta kayo dyan. Punta kayo dyan sa Florence and Venice, mga ganun. Ang nakikita kong luxury car dyan, mas marami akong nakita ng German luxury cars. Florence and all. Anyway, sa Denmark naman, Copenhagen, mga ganun, puro nakikita natin mga Range Rover, yung mga ganyang cars. Not even one, like, Ferrari or Lamborghini. Punta ka lang sa BGC, ang dami makita mga Lamborghini na orange. Tapos yung mga ganyan, iba-ibang kulay, mga crayons. Anyway, mga kameta, let's get back to politics. Just a little bit of update on that. Alam niyo naman. Of course, also check yung analysis na ginawa natin with friends, among others, of course, yung ating kasama sa Nexus podcast episode sama natin, si Lele Claudio. We talk about industrial policy, trade policy, agriculture policy. So check those episodes when we go deeper into developmental state dilemmas and developmental state deficits in the Philippines, and why the Philippines has been left behind by a lot of its neighbors. Alright, pag-usapan natin yan separately also later on, but you can also check those vlogs. Ipopost ko yung link dyan sa baba, so don't worry about it. You can check those things on your own, and just put my name, Hey Darian, industrial policy, something like that. Stuff are gonna come out, don't worry about it. Alright, now let's go back to politics. Speaking of politics,